the 2-week ultimatum issued by the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors to the federal and state governments has ended. The association has scheduled its extraordinary National Executive Council meeting for Saturday, September 10th in Jos to deliberate on the ultimatum. Well, the doctors had on July 30th this year issued a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government to implement all the agreement it had with the association or risk an indefinite strike. And joining us now for more on this is the national president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, Godiya Ishaya. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ishaya.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us.
So, from the understanding, you had an ultimatum 2 weeks. You postponed that, added another 2 weeks. Now it's ended. And then there's an extraordinary meeting. So you're not going on strike anytime soon?
Well, as the National Officers Committee, the only constitutional mandate that we have is to be able to provide the platform for the members to deliberate. And of course, since the ultimatum that was issued, which was not issued by us, we do not have legal latitude to declare as to whether there will be strike or not. But as the executive will be able to provide the platform for the National Executive Council to come and we'll cogitate together, see the progress that we have made so far, and then way forward will be sought.
Okay, so I mean, for the benefit of everyone who will be concerned that there's a huge possibility that the health sector could, you know, shut down again, for want of a better expression, especially when you think about ASU making demands on government. How realistic is it that you will actually get what you're asking for from the federal government? And more importantly, exactly what are your demands? And how has government even responded, you know, to it?
Well, actually, we have seen some progress. That was even the reason why the ultimatum had to be extended by another 2 weeks. Arising from the July NEC meeting that was ended on the 30th, we had issues such as non-implementation of the agreed hazard allowance that was circularized sometimes 22nd December 2021 to take effect from December 2021. So following the last ultimatum, we were able to see that at least for the first time, communication went from the Federal Ministry of Health to the Federal Ministry of Finance, demanding the Minister of Finance to release the fund that was already in the service-wide vote for the payment. And the process is still ongoing, and we are hopeful that sooner or later that will be implemented. The issue of the acute manpower shortages, which was occasioned by the negative effect of the brain drain we are having, we saw that there were multi-pronged approach to solving the situation. Right. The Minister of Labour, Senator Chris Ngige, have written to the Ministry of Health that actually the rapid turnover, or rather exit of our colleague, can not actually be replaced by the present or the prevailing bureaucratic bottlenecks that the normal processes of replacement of civil servant has to be allowed to be in operation. So there's suggestion that a committee be put in place, and which is in process, and we demanded actually also that the major cause of the brain drain is economic. That's the most important factor that we have identified, and we realized that it's not realistic actually that our members earn less than $1,000 in a month, and where they go is over $2,500 in a month. So in order to abridge that, or rather
$1,000 in a month by today's standards, by today's exchange rate would be
less than $1,000. Less than $1,000, yes.
Right.
So while
but which ones would be the low-hanging fruits, the immediate ones that you need government to address like yesterday?
Well, I think the ones that can assuage the problem, rather the worry of my members. If the government can do it today, I can say that there wouldn't be much trouble. Is if the hazard allowance will be implemented, the medical residency training fund allowance will be paid. I think these two items, because wouldn't be on strike for the negotiation of the new, or rather of the commerce or salary structure.
Okay.
Those ones will actually be things that can be done while on the table, and will be in a continuous basis.
Do you know why the implementation hasn't happened? Because I recall with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government actually approved increment of hazard allowance from between 5,000 to between 32,000 and 40,000, and for some other health workers it was between 15,000 naira and 34,000 naira. So there's an approval by the federal government. Do you know why this has been delayed?
Well, based on the understanding, following our issuance of ultimatum, we followed up and we discovered that actually the money was that was budgeted for the implementation was under service-wide vote, and there was a need for an agency of the government to apply for that fund to be released.
Okay.
That happened last year. Nobody applied for it, and it was returned. So we saw that the year was fast ending, and nobody was coming to apply, and the agency that was supposed, the ministry that was supposed to do that was the Ministry of Health. So with the issuance of the ultimatum and following our consultations, they have actually applied, and we've seen that there are positive movement toward, even though very slow.
Okay, so if government has demonstrated goodwill,
yes,
that's what you're
saying. And very quickly, you talked about the brain drain and the gap that it has caused. Yes. You're also asking government to replace, but you say it might not be quick enough. So what is the number that will be good enough for government to employ to replace your colleagues that have left the country?
Well, the numbers varies across different hospitals. We've observed that the effect of the brain drain is more it hit more of the hospital in the south than in the north.
Okay.
And from one hospital to the other, you find a varying number of colleagues that have left the services of those hospitals.
Yeah, you have about 16,000 or so resident doctors. Out of those, how many have left the shores of this country?
Based on the statistic that we have in our secretariat, the number of resident doctors currently in the country are little bit above 9,000, working with the federal institutions, and almost on a daily basis, we have one or two that would have exited or is planning to exit.
Well, we do hope that your demands are met very quickly. You do say that reason is prevailing. That's good to hear from the government. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you. Wish you the
Godiya.
very best.